Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, it's 𝗙𝗶𝗿𝘀𝗃. Thank you for coming. Well, in today's video, this is something that I usually talk about on this channel, and it's about stereotypes that we as Black people have on the planet, on the continents. It is just absurd that recently in 2023, even today, people still have the same mindset of the misconceptions that they always put on us, especially us as Africans. Watch the clips and how Africans and some African American people reacted about this incident, and then come back and let's talk about it.
When I have a child, I want to take them to Africa. You know what I'm saying? I want to take them to the motherland and let them see that, hey, we're blessed over here, you know, but look at them. They're staying in woods and trees.
My dearest African American brothers, my dearest fellow Black people all over the world, Australia, Canada, Dominican Republic, wherever you may be, and the United States of America, please, when you're making reference to Africa, please decolonize your thoughts. Please overhaul your American and your white man's education. Because even with the internet, and even with how much Africans have put information out there, some of you are still deciding to sit in your ignorance. I would advise that if you have never gone to the African continent, if you have never done a research to find out the truth about the place you call motherland, please do not come to this social media. Please do not come to this internet. Please do not go on any podcast and open your mouth and talk what you do not know. You're saying that we live in trees. Some of you mimic our accent. Me, I like my accent too. I can mimic the American accent. I can mimic the British accent. But in my moment of you will see my Africanness come out. And I'm not ashamed of it. I own it with my full chest. You understand me? Yes. Now, please, this should stop. It should, like, seriously, at this point, it's no longer ignorance. It's not ignorance of, oh, I'm ignorant. You know, this is willful ignorance. You have Google, you have TikTok, you have Facebook to educate you. If you cannot travel to Africa, you have all of these platforms to educate you on the things that you should and shouldn't say. I don't know what his name is, Anthony or whatever, Anthony. Please, okay? If you do not know, please keep quiet. Carry your children, take your children to Mississippi. Take your children to Alabama. Take your children to Los Angeles. Show them what, poverty looks like. There is afflictions in America. Like, if those of you who do this thing, please stop it. Stop it.
So whenever y'all get a chance, please go listen to this sister's video. She's talking about Anthony O'Neill and how he disrespected all of Africa, saying that they live in trees and they don't have nothing and they live in the woods. That is so crazy to me that even some of the most educated among us still subscribe to Eurocentric brainwashing when education and knowledge is free, right? So I don't understand why us as Black people, we can't just love each other all over the world, right? We continue to fight with each other like the powers that be didn't orchestrate it all. Africans, I want you to know that our first introduction to you was Feed the Children. If you're my age, comment below if you remember this. In the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, we had Feed the Children. And our first introduction to you was videos of naked children with distended bellies and flies flying around their eyeballs. They kept pushing that narrative. Every time you saw a white savior and you saw African people in huts, they hungry, they got disease, all of this, they pushed that narrative to us. And so now people of my generation and older still hold these falsehoods to be true. Secondly, another introduction that we had to Africa is that Africa is actually a country, and it was taught to us as if it was a country and not the massive continent that it is. Okay? It's crazy to me that we still have this mindset about each other. Now, I will admit, I know that there will be some Black Americans in the comment section that's a little bit angry with me, and they're going to say that Africans don't like us. Absolutely. That's been my experience. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of the most ignorant experiences that I've had have been with West Africans, 100. And I'm pretty sure that the West Africans can get on here and say the same thing about us, that we've been ugly and less than friendly and cordial. But what I'm telling you right now is we don't have time to be fighting with each other, because here's something that is true. The destinies of all Black people are intertwined. Do you understand? Whatever happens to the continent of Africa happens to all of us. We don't have, Black people, we don't have time to fight with each other because they shooting our ass dead in the streets, okay? And we can't fight with Africans. Africans, y'all can't fight with us, because guess what? It don't matter, Nigeria and Ghana, whose jollof rice tastes the best. The truth of the matter is the rice is coming from Thailand and India. It's being imported. So we need to figure out a solution to that. I want to know when we're going to start loving each other. There should be no diaspora wars. There should be none. We need to come together and figure out how we're going to love each other, come up economically, and be a world power like we're supposed to be. I don't even understand this whole debate. Oh, y'all make me so sick. At some point, some kind of leaders need to get together with Black people all over this planet of ours and figure out what the hell is going on with each of us. We need to have some come to Jesus moment, or whatever you want to call it. We need to have a moment where we sit around and we talk. All religions, all Black people, sit down with some representatives that have sense, and that have love for each other, and come up with some solutions as to why we are in the condition we are in all over the world.
Yeah. You know, but look at them. They're staying in woods and trees.
So this message is for Anthony O'Neill. Now, I will say I had no idea who this person was, at least not before he made this idiotic video. And quite honestly, I don't think I was missing much. So in reference to the video that you made, talking about Africans living on trees and living in the woods, I'll explain to you why that was so offensive. Maybe we'll just put some logic into things, okay? We saw the video and we were extremely offended. Animals live on trees. People do not live on trees. Africans are not animals. Therefore, Africans do not live on trees. Maybe when I tell it to you that way, you'll understand why what you said was so offensive and so problematic. And that's why a lot of Africans are really pissed off by what you said. Now, I do not have to get on here and try to justify how beautiful Africa is to you. I'm not going to sit here and defend Africa. I'm not going to do all that, because all you need to do is just literally get on Google and you will see that we don't live on trees. But that was just too much work for you. You preferred to go with the insults, okay? Calling us animals, essentially, because that's really what you did. I mean, even dogs don't live on trees, but, oh, Africans live on trees. You don't see how offensive that is? I don't even need to tell you that. And like I said, I am not about to justify anything to you. I'm just here to call you out on your bullshit. And when you do have kids, please don't bring them to Africa. And you don't come to Africa either. We don't want you here. We don't want people like you here, because you have no respect for us. So we don't want you here. Stay away from Africa.
So to those that don't know, this is an African American man called Anthony, and I saw a lot of people talk about him, that he talks about finance in America or sort of things like that. And I expected a person like that to have knowledge of things. But one thing I will not accept as an African is always putting the African continent in one box and still say the same stereotypes that other people that don't look like you showed you in the United States or wherever that you are. That is unacceptable. I'm not going to come on the internet to kind of defend the African continent because it is different countries in one continent of Africa. So the things that we have in Uganda are completely different from the things in Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Guinea, or any other African country. So if you come on the internet and you still want to put us in one box and say that we live in the trees or in the woods, you're still adding up on the misconceptions that the white media has been putting on the African people, and it is just unacceptable. Yes, we might say there are places in the African continent that are not so much well off, but then it also goes with the cultures that those people have. If you come to my country, Uganda, there are people in the urban areas, but there are also those that are in the rural areas, and they are very okay with it. They are fine with it. A majority of the times, people prefer to stay in the rural areas, but it's not like they are living in the trees. Like, you're literally comparing us to animals that live in the trees. And like the American lady said, growing up in her age, the only thing they showed you guys in America or in the outside world, on the televisions or on the medias of the white people, was always about the African kids with flies, skinny, with the white people coming to give us food and save us. And that's what they've been putting up as a narrative. So in 2023, the fact that you have to teach about finance and still have to put the same narratives that the white media has been putting on Africans on how we live in poverty, for you to explain your financial freedom or your financial blessings, is just unacceptable. And these are the statements that bring out the diaspora wars between the Africans, the Caribbeans, the African American people, people in Asia, black people all around the world. Is about learning. And we are in 2023. Google is literally free. You can just go right now on the internet right now and search about how Africa is, and they will show you the different perspectives of how Africa looks like. I mean, it's the same thing about the United States. It's not that all glitz and glamours. There are parts that are not that, good, and then there are parts that are very well developed. It's the same concept in the African countries. So when you want to come and still put out the same narrative that the white people have been showing on your other African people and still call it your motherland, is just absurd to me. You're literally comparing Africans to animals. Animals live in the trees. That's what you're trying to say. And it's just sad for a person like me who comes out to talk about how we should unite. There is no way we are going to unite when these people, or people like this Anthony, are still using the same narrative that has been put on us for years and years and years of time. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. And just because people came out and they called him out, that's when he had to make an apology. Yeah, this is the apology he made.
So I was off social media for the weekend to come back and to see hundreds, thousands, and millions of views on a video that showed me on a show that I shot about 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, with me saying that Africans are living in trees and in the woods. When I watched that clip and I went back to my show and watched the full context of the show, I am completely disappointed in my words. I am completely apologetic to my African brothers and sisters, because that was a very immature, a very distasteful comment for me to make. And I want to own that, and I want to apologize. There's two things that I know when it comes to communication. It's always about intent and then the impact. My intent was for sure to not disrespect the culture, the motherland. If anyone knows me, I am for the African American people. But the intent doesn't matter right now, because the words that I spoke, the impact was bad. And I want to publicly, I apologize to my YouTube channel. That video is going up today. But I also wanted to come on Instagram and just apologize to my brothers and sisters, because that was a very immature statement for me to make. It was not articulated correctly of the intent of my heart. And I got to own that. To whom much is given, much is also required.
So I don't know if it is acceptable to take, or he was just forced to do it, but we shouldn't reach at a point where you have to say some ignorant statements and then expect people to first come and call you out for you to even apologize about the things that you clearly said, maybe to boost your motivation. I don't know. But the fact is, please, if you've never come to the continent of the African people, I would really recommend that you don't comment or say anything about it until you are actually in the continent. It really needs to stop. And I was kind of also taken back by it, because it is 2023. It's 2023. The internet, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, they are there to help us have knowledge. But the fact that you don't even use them, is what is wild to me. Like, why would you even want to take your children to the African continent to teach them about how blessed they are? I mean, you can take literally your people or your children to other parts of the United States that are not that well developed and show them that they should be grateful for whatever they have. You shouldn't use us or put us in the center of everything for you to bring out your motivational speech or whatever that you wanted to do. Is crazy, guys. So this is something that I needed to talk about. Tell me, guys, what you think about this. Yeah, in case you're wondering, I'm out in the view. That's why I'm having glasses. I'm on top of the building. Yeah, so yeah, that was it for today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.